Tucker Carlson is left speechless. He's got nothing to say at all as Jimmy Dore exposes Barack Obama for the fraudster he is. Folks, I think you're going to like this one. I know I did. There's actually a lot of information about Obama that I didn't quite know or realize until watching this clip. So I really enjoyed it. I think you will too. And with all that being said, we're going to get right into it. But first, do me a huge favor here. Like our video and share it around. And that way we can keep bringing you all this great, hard-hitting content. And as always, Patriots, I'm your host, Arian, and this is Resist the Mainstream.
Obama made sure the bankers got their bonuses while he kicked 5.1 million families out of their homes. Not people, 5.1 million families. And then you find out that he got more money from Wall Street than John McCain did. And you find out that...
Did he really?
Yes. And that there was an email from Wall Street, from Citigroup to the Barack Obama campaign with a list of people they wanted in his cabinet. Every person on that list ended up in his cabinet. And the reason I know that, because that got released by WikiLeaks, and that's why they've been trying to kill Julian Assange ever since. And so they all are working. He wasn't a departure from George W. Bush, Barack Obama, just his skin color. He took us from 2 wars to 7. He gave us a right-wing healthcare plan, which came out of the Heritage Foundation, which is the same people I gave you Project 2025. And, he gave us Mitt Romney's healthcare plan. So, and he deported all those. He dropped more bombs than George Bush, and nobody noticed. And that's why.
Okay. A lot going on there. WikiLeaks. Obviously, as we all know, Julian Assange was, sentenced to life in prison, if not death, by the United States, and that was very recently extradited. Thank God, and he is now okay. But there was more than that as well. He also got accused by different governments around the world of sexual assault and rape. And it is my strong belief that the reason for this stuff, it was just political targeting, okay? I don't actually believe that he committed any of those crimes. We've seen so many examples of this over and over again where the media comes out, lies, says somebody committed sexual assault, rape, whatever, and there's no evidence. We've seen it time and time again, all right? Brett Kavanaugh, all right? Remember what they tried to do with his confirmation hearing? Christine Blasey Ford was obviously a liar, a terrible person, but she was portrayed as, this victim, it's the Me Too movement. Oh, you got, believe all women, believe all women, even if they're completely, total dirty liars. Believe them all. Believe them all. Totally asinine, all right? Clarence Thomas, they did the same thing with him, all right? He actually called it a modern-day lynching by the Democrats back when he was up for nomination at the Supreme Court because they were throwing all these phony accusations at him. Donald Trump, need we forget that, okay? And not only was Donald Trump accused, but he was actually convicted of some kind of civil rape. Does anybody actually buy that crap? All right, because I don't, okay? And even Harvey Weinstein, all right? I don't like him. He's a Democrat. He's a pig. He's a scumbag, all right? Nobody likes Harvey Weinstein. I get it. But he was quite clearly a sacrificial lamb for these people with this Me Too movement. It was a way to get the ball rolling so they could keep accusing men over and over and over again, all right? It is truly nasty and disgusting stuff.
And that's why they wanted to have Kamala Harris. That was their first choice. The donor class was Kamala Harris. They thought we'd have a female Barack Obama, and that's a good face for imperialism, right? Because we have a black woman bombing and stealing resources and doing neoliberal and neocon policies. That's perfect. And then she couldn't get a vote. So then they had to go to their second most reliable person, which was Joe Biden. That's exactly how it worked. I don't know if you remember, but they coronated her on Martha's Vineyard. She's going to be our candidate. And they thought they had the black Barack Obama, but she couldn't get a vote. She has no political talent, right? And so then they forced her on Joe Biden as the vice president. And then, of course, they did a coup, just like Jim Gaffigan said at the L. Smith dinner. They had the debates way earlier than they normally would, so they would give them enough time to install Kamala Harris, and that's exactly what happened. So I don't know how I got off on this tangent, but yes, we know that after Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party, then the major newspapers, the mentions of racism and white supremacy, people have studied this. I'm not making this up. I'm just quoting studies, and went through the roof. And why is that? That's because, as Chomsky taught us, the newspapers aren't there to inform you. They're to manufacture consent. And one of the great ways to manufacture consent for the establishment is to divide and conquer. It's been there ever since World War II. It's been divide and conquer. And that's exactly exactly what they did. So they got everybody hyper, that's what identity politics is. And it's got everybody who you identify with your skin color. It's the opposite of Martin Luther King. It's the opposite of judge someone by the content of their character.
Exactly.
And so now everybody's identified with their gender or their sexual preference or their skin color or their ethnicity. And they got us all siloed off and split up.
Yes, exactly. And this idea that Donald Trump was somehow this horrible, divisive guy who just pit Americans against one another, all the problems in our country because of Trump's fault, it's so asinine. I'm so sick of hearing it. And it's not true. Okay, I mean, aside from the obvious, look, because a bunch of crazy leftwoods get triggered and start frothing at the mouth because they get, programmed by the media to hate somebody, that's not the guy's fault, okay, for the programming. That's a combination of things. The media and also just them, frankly, I believe in individual responsibility for just being duped by stupid forces, all right? People should know better and think better. It's absolutely ridiculous. Aside from that, Barack Obama was arguably one of the most divisive presidents we ever had in American history. Right? I can't overstate how much I dislike Barry. Okay, I really don't like that guy. When I hear about how, the country was unified under Barack Obama. Oh, he was such a good president. Oh, he brought Americans together, white and black. He unified us. Are you kidding me? Have we all forgotten his bitter Bible clingers comment?
People have been beaten down so long, and they feel so betrayed by government.
So it's not surprising then that they get bitter and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, or a way to explain their frustrations.
Everybody forgets about that, okay? It just drives me nuts. Now, speaking of Obama and how corrupt he is, it doesn't end at the whole Wall Street, thing you had with the sheet about the cabinet, right? He has also pulled in an exorbitant amount of wealth. Some might even argue an unnatural amount of wealth during his presidency, or rather during his time as a politician, I should say, over the period of about 14 years. Let's see Megyn Kelly talk a bit about that.
How much is enough money, according to the Obamas? 70 million? Because public reports estimate that is their net worth.
Wow.
Parlayed on the back of Barack Obama's 14 years of holding political office. He did not spend 50 years in government service. He did a stint in the Illinois State Senate. He did a couple years in the U.S. Senate before he ran for office and won. All right. Then he did 2 terms as president. And off of that, he's made himself over $100 million, almost $100 million, probably over, to be honest. We don't know all of the earnings. The Obamas reportedly own 4 luxury properties. A home in Martha's Vineyard, estimated to be worth some $20 million bucks. In addition to properties in Washington, D.C., reportedly bought for $8.1 million, a beachfront home in Hawaii, reportedly bought for $8.7 million, and a home bought in Chicago for $1.65 million. Is that more than you need, Mr. Obama? Mrs. Obama?
Yes, guys, Barack Obama made himself tens of millions of dollars. Nothing to see here. Look, I'm not making any claims, okay? I'm just saying something is a little bit weird about that. That's all. With all that being said, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, folks, comment below. Let us know what you liked about the clip, what kind of stuff you want to see in the future, and hit that subscribe button. And that way, we'll be sure to see you again soon. God bless.